Penguin, Tim, rantingbluepenguinmedia.com, rbpenguinmedia.com. And as highly anticipated for me, I have Collin Whitehead. Collin is he's the face, he's the figurehead, he is kind of the spokesperson right now for the group of supporters that are going to be there for USL Arkansas. As Northwest Arkansas starts to get their championship team in, starts to get their hopefully USL Super League team in for the women's side, hopefully getting that Division One status here soon. Collin, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
So how did this all begin for you? I know, like I said, you're kind of a face, you're a figurehead, you're a mouthpiece right now. You don't even have an official team prior to a couple of weeks ago, and yet you've been there as a supporter from the beginning. So how did that journey get started for you? What was that like?
So it was back in October 2020, and I had a couple friends who one was a fan of an MLS team, one's a fan of an MLS and USL team, and they were just kind of talking about it's cool having a local team and everything, and we were just kind of delving more into USL, and I was asking my friend who's a USL fan questions. I then just went and looked up some stuff on Twitter, and all of a sudden I see a Jeff Ruder tweet saying that League One is going to have this many teams in 2021, and then hopefully by 2023 they're going to have New Hampshire, Portland, Maine, Fort Wayne, and then Northwest Arkansas. And so I saw that, and I stopped, and I'm like, am I going to get a local pro soccer team? Like, that's awesome. So I started trying to find anything that I could about the team. I ended up connecting with the Omaha Parliament. That was around December or January 21. And I was like, what should I do to get the word out about this? Because I have it on official word from The Athletic. It's, in the works. And they're like, just create a Twitter and a Facebook and then, just go from there. So I did. Created a Facebook group to allow other people to post on there also. And they both just started racking up followers super fast. I think I had 60 within 2 or 3 days on each. They were growing pretty equally for a little while. And then on Facebook, I got a message from the president of one of the local youth clubs here, and he was like, hey, I know the organizers, and they want to reach out to you. So I got on a Zoom call with them, and from there, they were like, hey, we really appreciate what you're doing, starting a grassroots movement within, the community, and we would love to give you, opportunities to post updates whenever we have them. So that's what I've been doing up until this point.
Were you a soccer supporter? Were you a fan? Were you anything prior to this, or
Yeah.
what was your connection to soccer?
9 years ago, I started watching soccer through the World Cup. A bunch of my friends were into it. And then I got into Arsenal, so I'm an Arsenal fan too.
Oh, you see the Liverpool scarf right behind me.
Yeah, I can bear Liverpool.
Fair enough, but
yeah.
So Arsenal, you got into Arsenal there after that.
Yeah, and I was just kind of talking about soccer with my friends from high school for years, really, and then through this, I've started organizing Premier League watch parties in the area, and I've kind of gotten quite a few friends actually, just from the soccer community here, and so it's just been great, being at bars and everything and enjoying it. So.
Did you? I'm assuming also you follow the University of Arkansas soccer team, the women's soccer team there, and
yes.
So history of success there. At least the last few years, been hosting playoff matches and tournament championships and all of that type of stuff. So soccer did it surprise you how prevalent and how widespread soccer support and fandom was in Northwest Arkansas?
It did, because we don't really have. I mean, we had an NPSL team, but they played in multiple venues over the course of years, and so, other than them, we really didn't have a place where all soccer fans could kind of unite. And so, there's just a lot of soccer fans here you wouldn't really know. They watch the game or they play it, and so it's just been great, kind of seeing that there is support for this and overwhelming support for it.
Yeah. When you talked about the followers and everything else, so you were surprised that they jumped on that quickly with what you were doing there too with the actual team.
Oh, absolutely. It was. I think this is a community effort. I'm probably too humble about it because, obviously I started this Facebook group and Twitter and everything, but the community was really what ended up taking this to be what it is now, where our Facebook group has 1.3K members. It had 800 or 900 before the announcement last week, and the Twitter's at about 600 too. And so, it's just pretty impressive that we're at this point. And it really makes me confident this team will do well.
Yeah. And it's like Arkansas, when they get into a fandom, when they get into support, they're extremely passionate. For the
Mhm.
longest time, the only professional sports we had was the SEC and in the college ranks there.
Yeah.
But it becomes like a religion throughout the state that we have something to be proud of. Um, and I expect that that's what you're looking forward to here in the future with the
Oh
with
yeah.
new team.
Because I mean the Razorbacks growing up in Fayetteville, so I was a Hog fan my whole life. It's been awesome just to see how the community rallies behind it, but not only that, the whole state. But I was saying last week to some people that Arkansas, the Razorbacks are the state's team, and so now we're going to have an opportunity to support something that is our own,
Mhm.
our own soccer club, and soccer is my favorite sport. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Have you gotten down to look at the Little Rock Rangers at all and, kinda there? I know they're not professional ranks, but,
Mhm.
have you gotten down to kinda see what they're doing?
I've not yet. I've been trying to for the past couple of years. I'm in contact with the Red Watch, their supporters group, their president Ryan Stallings, pretty often, and so we have a good relationship going there. And hopefully we can get a derby going if they ever become a professional team, which I would expect they will at some point.
So so when you got this thing going and you started noticing that you're getting the swell and you're getting the ground support and everything else, so much so the team has reached out to you at this point, you said, and they were like, "Hey, we love what you're doing. Keep doing this."
Hmm.
Uh, that was back in the times where you expecting League One.
Yeah.
When when did you know that championship was on the table, and how did you guys react to that?
So it's been really exciting because it's kind of been delayed. Like I first figured out. Well, I was going to say last year, but honestly, even 2 years ago, I had heard rumors from our club leadership that we might be a championship team, and we were growing
Mhm,
so fast. If you include kind of surrounding areas like up to maybe Joplin, Missouri, down to Fort Smith, Western Oklahoma, it's really maybe 700, 850,000 people who live in this area.
mhm,
So I heard about it, but kind of it was just League One for a while, and then really when Warren Smith joined in last year, when he was an immense help with Chris Martinovich, who's our other founder, and they both worked really well to get land nailed down and Rogers and everything. And after Warren came in, and I mean he has experience doing this before. He knows markets, and he's not going to enter a market that he doesn't think can be successful. After that was really when it started becoming a thought of, okay, this is going to be a championship team. And having everyone figure that out not only last week but just before then too is awesome. Everyone's super excited for it.
yeah, and I know, there's some questions and everything else because you have some of these markets, uh, that, like, you think Madison, Wisconsin, you think Omaha, some of those, type things that are bigger than, but then all of a sudden you say, "Oh, yeah, Warren Smith, he stepped in." Did you know his history with the championship and everything else when he stepped in?
I did. I believe Chris and Warren they met here in Northwest Arkansas 2 years
Yep,
ago. Warren's family has been living here for over 30 years.
yep,
And so, I heard about him back then and I looked him up, and I was, really hopeful that maybe he would this is back when he was San Diego's president still.
mhm,
But I was saying, maybe sometime down the line he can help us out in some way because I mean Sacramento Republic and San Diego Loyal, in my opinion, two of the most well run and supported teams in all of USL. So really him coming in was what galvanized it. But USL, the league actually really believes in this market too. So it's really exciting again.
yeah, I tell everyone that, if you haven't been to Northwest Arkansas, if you haven't gone through, even if not for the soccer, just the natural beauty of the state is attractive.
Mhm.
It is, kinda one of the better kept secrets, as far as, places for young talent to go, and you can have a family, and you can have a job, and you can have
Mhm.
just a nice place to live, and it's one of those, that, were it not for, other circumstances, my wife and I absolutely, we would probably be back in Northwest Arkansas now.
Mhm.
So highly recommend anyone that sleeps on Northwest Arkansas wake up, and it's good. So it's good to know that, when you see somebody that's got the success, you've got Warren there. He's got the connections. He's got the like his heart is part Northwest Arkansas at that point, right? So, that
100%.
the confidence that they're going to run things right. I'm guessing that did wonders for you in the support group.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I was able to tell everyone that Warren was part of this, and just I kind of leaked it out indirectly. Like a few months ago, I took a selfie with him, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, just ran into Warren Smith here in Rogers, and so people were already kind of digging through stuff just locally here, and like, wow, this guy's built some good teams, and he was also part of Portland Timbers. They're moved from US. Well, he helped actually keep them afloat because they were actually going to just do away with the Portland Timbers about 20 years ago, and then they ended up going into MLS and becoming what they are. So yeah, it's been awesome just knowing that he's part of this, and he really does care. So
Yeah, and whatever you think of Portland, the Timbers, the Thorns, the leadership, like the controversies that have been there, whatever you think,
mhm.
uh, their team itself, there's a tradition and there's an established identity at least. So the first thing you think of Portland Timbers, you think of the lumberjacks sawing the logs after every
Mhm.
goal, and the environment, and everything else, and that. I expect that that's going to be part of what Northwest Arkansas wants to do is like just really it's that roots and that tradition type thing that you're
Oh yeah.
looking for.
I think, I mean, just over the past week since this has become public, it's been apparent that this is a real soccer region. People love this game. There's so many people from so many different just parts of the world that have moved here for the U of A and Walmart, Tyson, even stuff outside of that. And it's going to be an incredible opportunity to just kind of become, in my opinion, hopefully one of the standout teams in American soccer, just from a supporter standpoint, because of the passion for the game that we have here.
Yeah. So, what? Let's see. The I guess the next place to go with that is right. You've got fastest growing regions in the country, right? It's one of the top 100 metros out
Mhm.
there, and I believe you posted that or retweeted that to Twitter recently.
Yeah.
Fayetteville, top 10 best places to live 8 consecutive years, according to U.S. News and World Report.
Hmm.
It is a place people want to go, um, and the economic impact of this. What are you expecting that this is going to do as far as that entertainment district there in Rogers, kind of in that Pinnacle Hills, and beyond? How much of an impact do you see that's happening for that?
It's going to have a huge impact. Pinnacle Hills is somewhere where everyone in Northwest Arkansas has, at least been, you would say, like once in the past year. I mean, everyone's going there for dining, shopping, Top Golf, the Amp, which is our music, our amphitheater here. So it's the happening place in the area, or one of them at least. And so the club said that well, actually, I think it was the NWA Council said that there will be $50 to $200 million of economic impact from this team, and that's kind of similar to what you see in these other cities like Louisville and Colorado Springs, that are getting new soccer specific stadiums. So it's going to have a huge impact, just from an economic standpoint, but also just from a community standpoint too.
So the sponsorships, the things like that. Do you see people already lining up to get in on the partnerships and all of that? And obviously you probably can't name some of the backside deals that are going on, but
Mhm.
but you're seeing the interest from the business community and saying, hey, we want to be a part of this as well.
Seems like it. I mean, just on social media, there's a lot of um, you know support just from like the city of Rogers, all the other cities in NWA, and then uh, you know, I think that we're going to have a good amount of potential sponsors to choose from because you have big companies here. You have 1,400 vendors for Walmart that all have a presence here. So I've not heard anything yet from the club about specifics. So I actually don't know about it, but I have heard that people are just real excited here about this, just from a business standpoint too.
That's and again, anything that helps Northwest Arkansas, anything that helps that area is just gonna grow and flourish. And anything that's a draw, then hey, come for the natural beauty, stay for a soccer game, go out, have a couple of beers, and enjoy everything that has to offer. Then and like the infrastructure, are you worried at all about the infrastructure being able to support?
So there are some concerns about traffic, just because I mean, it's going to be 5,000 seats, so it's not going to be like a mega stadium by any means. But I mean, there will be some issues with traffic. But I don't actually. There are some people who think there will be. I don't think there will be because first off, they're going to have plenty of on-site parking. potential for over 800 spots, I believe, just in that general vicinity by the hotel
Mhm.
and just to the west
Yeah.
of the stadium. You'll have, I think, 7,000 in the promenade, the mall that we have just south of the stadium. And
Mhm.
then they're going to be doing a lot of stuff for bikers. I mean, we have the Razorback Greenway, which runs
Yeah.
from Fayetteville to Bella Vista. It's an incredible, paved trail, and it runs right near the stadium. So you're going to have a lot of people biking there, potentially people walking. There's a lot of apartments in that area too, in the Pinnacle area. There's apartments literally just north of the stadium. So I think overall traffic actually won't be a big issue, but people just think it might be just because you don't really have anything in that area yet on the east side of I-49 that is like the stadium will be.
Right, and that I-49 corridor, that is relatively new in the scheme of interstates, so it's just gotten built up from being a standard, regular highway, as I understand, yeah?
Well, I think it's been an interstate for about 20 years, but
Yep,
that's still pretty recent.
yep,
I think it actually became an interstate after I was born, so it's a pretty young highway for sure.
yeah, I remember, Highway 71, and that's what you took, and that's what ended up becoming 49, so
Exactly.
there's already been construction, there's already been infrastructure and stuff over the last couple of decades going in. Obviously not for a soccer program, but, being able to take advantage of that, I would imagine is probably a good thing.
Oh yeah, and I've not heard specifics, but I've heard Rogers does have plans to make the whole Pinnacle area more walkable, which
Mhm.
can only help with the stadium too. So I mean, there's infrastructure there for it to happen. It's just going to be a process that takes time.
So switching tracks from there, we talked about, Warren's got connections there and that heart of the city, how do you find Chris? What's your take on Chris Martinovich there and his just him being there, since 2007 as it was?
Yeah, so I mean, Chris is a great guy. I mean, he's literally never been nothing but nice. I've over the past 2.5 years bombarded him with questions, like because it's been a long process, and so he's let me in on some stuff, and so I've probably annoyed him at points, but he's done well, and he's always been giving me the most accurate answers possible, and now it's just great because this has been his dream for 4 years. I mean, he got started on this in 2019. I kind of joined in 2021. So, this went from a literal thought in his mind, and it's now, it's not a team yet, but it looks like it could be. And so, Chris is great, and I'm happy to have him here, and he is, definitely a good representation for NWA.
Yeah, and if you watch the press conference that comes out, and both he and Warren that they're excited, they're passionate, they're ready to do this, and they're willing to just talk to people like they're people. There's no double speak there. There's no anything else. They came across as genuine, and I feel like you guys are catching that relationship as well.
Yeah, I mean they've been super genuine and super nice with me, and then with other fans too. And it's been great because I've noticed USL teams will really tap into the community and ask people what do you want our name to be and the colors and stuff. But Warren and Chris are not only doing that, but they're showing they care. They've shown up to multiple just watch parties in the past. They're doing listening sessions in all the cities. Well, not all the cities here, but some of the big cities here.
Mhm.
And they're really just transmitting the fact that they do care because they do. These guys are not just billionaires who are just going to put a team here and just leave it. They're here for the long haul. So
Right. Um, how how has that been going as far as the sensing sessions and what would you like the name to be and what would you like what kind of ideas are you hearing thrown out there?
a lot of good ones, some bad ones. So they've had a few listening sessions so far. I was a part of one of them. Um, and so those are just with kind of like important people in the soccer community
Right.
here and stuff like that. So they've been doing a good job with those, and I mean the people are real interested and the discussions go well. And then online you're seeing a lot of ideas. Some people want the team to be named Arkansas, some people want NWA, some people want Ozark. Ozark FC was the name of the NPSL team that was here.
Yeah.
And so there's some really good suggestions. The Facebook group that I run has gotten some good crest concepts. People who are really good at graphic design, and
Yeah.
so it's been awesome to see for me because I've been dreaming of even this moment, being able to see speculation about what the name and colors are going to be for years. So
Do you have a preference if you were king for a day and you could set it? Do you have a preference on colors, crest, name, any of that stuff?
it's tough. I think I would like green to be incorporated in
Mm,
somehow
yeah.
because there's so much greenery here. There's so much outdoor stuff to do. I mean, and you touched on that earlier. So, I think especially to kind of distance our identity from the Hogs because again, I'm a huge Hog fan, but this needs to be, in my opinion,
Yep.
separate from the Razorbacks. So,
Absolutely.
green would be a great color. I don't know about the secondary color, but a lot of people want blue or gold,
Mhm.
maybe white. And then with the name, it's tough because there's not really. I mean, in Northwest Arkansas is kind of a mouthful.
Mhm.
Ozarks, could also mean Missouri. So there's
Yeah.
no perfect name, but I do kind of like Ozarks United. A few people have said that, and United's cliche in soccer, but it would make sense because this is a whole region we're talking about, not just a city.
Yep.
So I think that would, as of now, be my favorite. But in 2 days, I might have a different answer.
Yeah, I remember seeing conversations previously. Some people are looking at autumnal colors because that's really one of the most beautiful times of the year. Unfortunately, you'll be playing in the summer, but your women's
Mhm.
league will be in kind of the European schedule. I think the fall, winter, any of those types of colors. But absolutely, I agree with you that separating from the Razorbacks. Now, I would imagine you want a good relationship with the
Oh
university
yeah,
because of the women's program and uh, it's not an official academy, but almost like an academy right there in there. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
what do you envision that looking like?
I think, I mean, I've talked with Colby Hale, the Razorback soccer coach. He was at the announcement last week, and he's really excited. And I've known about his excitement about this for probably about a year. So because he can really tell his players, if you're good enough, you can play Division 1 soccer, the best level of soccer in the United States, and it's just right up the road.
Yeah.
So, and for hometown players too, I mean, there's been some girls from Fayetteville and I think Bentonville or Rogers over the years who played for the Razorbacks, and for them to go up there would be great too. From a supporter perspective, we're looking at hopefully getting a supporter section going at Razorback games this year.
Mhm.
Getting some drums going, some chants. And so, we're looking to just support all soccer in this area. So it doesn't matter if it's just USL Arkansas. The Razorback soccer team would be a great team to support too for us also.
Yeah, don't forget the smoke. You got to bring the smoke and the fire if you're allowed to.
Yeah,
Uh,
if we're
uh,
allowed to, exactly.
yeah, burn bands and the like and all that. You don't want that natural beauty just go up and smoke there, but
Exactly.
smoke does wonders. Even from the owner's box, smoke does wonders. So
Oh yeah, we'd love to have it.
yeah. So is there is there any downside that you're seeing? Is there any concerns that are aside from the traffic, the infrastructure, anything else, or any of the supporters that you've talked to worried about anything?
Um, I've seen a little bit of negative sentiment about it, but it's not been from fans here. You'll just see like grouches on Facebook, and they're like, I hate soccer. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast last week from a guy who used to work for local news here, and he's a big sports fan, and I thought he'd be receptive to it, but he was like, I don't know if this is even going to be able to get 5,000 people a game because that's what our capacity is looking to be, and I
Mhm.
was kind of shocked, but everyone here has been pretty nice about it. I would say the most negativity I've seen is from some people in Little Rock,
Mhm.
which is not representative of how they feel about this at all. I mean, they're excited to have another soccer team in the area, and then, I mean, I would love for them to eventually, move to the championship, or maybe we get relegated if Pro Rel goes through, and
Right.
I wouldn't like for that to happen, but it's a possibility. And so they're excited, but there's been some people saying, well, Rangers should have been the first pro soccer team in Arkansas, and why do we need another one? And it's
Mhm.
like, why can't we just share? I mean, this team it's USL Arkansas is a placeholder name. It will not, well, more than likely won't be just called Arkansas FC or something. I think this
Right.
is NWA's team, and club leadership are going to look to reflect that. The community wants it, so I think people in Little Rock can just, you know, not chill out. That sounds kind of mean, but just be excited because this could eventually be a rival, and we can help grow the game here. Both.
Yeah. So similar to that, when I was growing up in Arkansas, there it was the Arkansas Travelers. They were the Double A team for the St. Louis Cardinals at the time.
Mhm.
I got very fond memories of going to there. And then within the last again, what was it been 10, 15 years maybe that the Springdale got the Naturals, Northwest Arkansas Naturals,
Mhm.
Double A affiliate for the Royals here, which Omaha's got the Triple A affiliate with the Storm Chasers. So,
Yeah.
but how are you able to take any lessons learned from the fact that you had a Double A ball team in Little Rock, you've got a Double A ball team in Springdale? Have you been able to look at that as a no? See, this can work.
Yeah, I think so. Because Northwest Arkansas and Little Rock are both, I think, about 3 hours away. I mean, they
Hmm.
both have. We're about to hit 600,000 people, probably already have, and I think they have about 850,000, if not more. Um, I think there's room for professional sports in both areas. I would love, for someday. I mean, maybe we get like an NBA G League team because I'm a big basketball fan.
Hmm.
Um, and Little Rock could do the same. So, I mean, pro sports in both areas is just beneficial for the state. I don't see any reason to kind of haggle and fight over it. So,
Yeah,
personally,
I think if Bobby Portis has his way, he might lean on that NBA G League team as well for you because for forever it's been basketball, and a lot of that is due to Memphis being right there with the
oh, yeah,
NBA team with the success that in the '90s that the Razorback basketball team had. Like basketball was just everywhere
yeah,
in that point in Arkansas. So, uh, yeah, I think you're right though that as things grow, you definitely have room. It's just being able to take those lessons learned and hey, Little Rock, see, we can do this. Do they have any? Are you hearing any concerns about public money and stuff like that from people that don't know?
yeah. There are a few people I've seen asking if this will be privately funded or publicly funded, but it's in the news that it will be privately funded, and they anticipate that. And that's great, because people don't. A lot, people just don't want to use their taxpayer dollars for stadiums, and it's completely understandable. So, if our team, sorry, can bypass that, then it'd be great.
No, all great points and a lot of stuff, like I said, that we're dealing with up here in Omaha is the public funding versus private funding thing. But the fact that you guys haven't figured it out, I think that's going to be a boon in your favor there. So good to hear it. The championship. Um, have you watched and do you think how well do you think you guys are going to do let's say your first year, uh, what do you expect the level of competition to be like, and do you think the supporters are ready for this is the second tier league in the states?
Yeah, that's a really exciting question. I think for the first year, I mean, if we could just somehow make the playoffs, that'd be great. I mean, I look at Monterey Bay. I believe they started last year, and but this year they're doing really well. I forget if they made the playoffs or not last year, but if we could just try to do it the first year, and then from there, I mean, kind of do what they're doing and be maybe a top 4 or 5 team, that would be great. But as long as we're not losing a bunch, I think people will totally be on board with it. You know, I think just as long as this team is winning consistently, I think people will be excited for it and accept it. But just at the start, I don't know if people are ready for it being the second division because this is going to be a huge deal, and there's going to be a lot of excitement for it. And that first game is going to be, just an incredible atmosphere, I think. So
And you're going to be riding the World Cup, as I understand it, the 2026 season prior to the World Cup, the men will start, and then later that fall after the World Cup, the women will start. Uh, but aside from riding that wave, are you worried at all that if the men's side is not doing well during the summer, that it'll affect the people coming out to see the women?
um, I think they're obviously both going to be part of the club, but they're two separate teams.
Mhm.
So if the men's team isn't doing well, I think really just the easy answer to people saying, well, should I go to the women's game is okay, well, it's another team, I mean, it's going to be in the first division of, women's soccer in the US. It's going to have a different coach, potentially different front office staff. I don't, no, I would imagine they'll have staff for the women's and men's team. So, I think it'll be kind of an easy sell, just with the fact that it's a different team and it's a level up too.
Do you subscribe to the idea that for people who maybe not from Northwest Arkansas though, uh, if you support the men's team, you need to support the women's team, or what do you think about that? Just philosophically, not like do you like would you support Arsenal women as well?
Yeah, I keep up with Arsenal women pretty regularly. I've tried, I've watched a few of their games last year. So I think saying that you have to support both is kind of gatekeeping, and I don't want people to
Okay.
do that.
Yeah,
So,
fair.
as long as people aren't, if you're a man, you're dogging on the women's team and saying, I don't care about women's soccer, blah, blah, blah. As long as people aren't doing that, or if they're a woman saying the same thing about men's, um, you know, I think people will be pretty accepting with it because obviously people have lives and, so there will be some people though, including me, who will support both. And I would like to think the majority of fans of both teams will also support the other team. So
Yeah, and that's one of the watchwords on the work that I do and everything else is always support local. I don't
mhm.
care who it is. If you've got a local team, you go support them because they're pouring into the community. They're part of the community, and especially at the lower level, I think. So I think you're dead on there with those types of things. The You mentioned pro rel. So where do you stand on pro rel?
I think just personally, I think it might be a little too early because League One just needs to get filled out a lot more.
Hmm.
And I think it can. I mean, I think USL is in talks with 40 markets right now.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been the word in public, and so I would imagine that at least half of those are probably going to be League One markets. And so I think once it gets filled out, yeah, if it does pass and it does get installed, I'll be super excited because this is something that will set USL apart from all the other leagues in American soccer. And even though we're starting at the top and the only way we could really go is down to be affected by ProRel, I'm still fine with it. If USL thinks it's a good thing and they pass it, then I'm going to get ready for it.
Do your fellow supporters share that, or do they even have an eye on it? They're just excited to have a team.
I think people are just pretty excited to have a team right now.
Yeah.
Just kind of in the circles that I'm talking with, people know about it and they're like, that would be great. But it's not, I don't think people are like just obsessed with the idea of it. And if it doesn't happen, they're not going to support the team.
So just a couple other random questions then. Do you have I know you guys have the supporters group is not official yet. You're going to have elections. You're going to be starting about talking about a charter and things like that. Do you have a team or another culture or anything else like that that you would want to model as far as, hey, these guys are doing it right? What who would you call out as saying, yeah, these are kind of the guys we want to take a page from their book?
Well, there's a lot actually, because I mean, I've talked with leaders of Omaha Parliament, of Reedy River Riot in Greenville, the Flock in Madison. I'm trying to think. I mean, Red Watch, obviously in Little Rock, 83 United. So I've talked to a lot of people and made good relationships with them. So, and there's other people who are looking to start the supporters group who also know people from those cities. So those would be some supporters groups that I like to model ourselves after because I think that they all do pretty well. Have good membership and such. And I mean, even just outside of that, I think Los Verdes and Austin Anthem in Austin for Austin FC, we
Hmm.
have a lot of people that are moving here from Austin, and
Yeah.
they have nothing but good words to say about those groups. So I'd like to kind of meet up with them soon, hopefully maybe online, and pick their brain about what it would take. So, but I like what they're doing in Austin too. So all those groups really.
Is the plan to be an independent supporters group, or is there plans for an actual club-sponsored affiliated supporters group?
We're going to look to be independent, and the club has stressed that too. It's beneficial. You don't really want it to be affiliated with the team, and we all agree with that. But we're also obviously going to have a healthy relationship with the club, and they're going to call us out if we do anything wrong, and they're open to criticism from us too. So, I think it'll be a good relationship that's not too close, but not too far either.
Which away day are you most looking forward to?
See, this is exciting talk, just to be able
Yep.
to think about this. I think some of the California teams,
Hmm.
Monterey and San Diego, Sacramento too. Those will be fun. I went to Colorado Springs 4 years ago, and I
Hmm.
loved it. In Denver too. I went to go see an Arsenal game, and that was before Widener Field had even been constructed. I'm so used to with the W,
Yep.
Wenger. Uh,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm an Arsenal fan. So those, and I'm excited to get up to Louisville too.
Mhm.
Louisville City has just an amazing supporters group with the Coopers, and the culture there is just great. So I want to get up there also.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what NOLA has to offer too. I imagine
Oh,
that's going to be
yeah,
on a lot of people's let's go list.
exactly.
Uh,
That's going to be a killer away day.
is there an Open Cup? So not necessarily championship, but is there an Open Cup away day that you'd be looking forward to? Either MLS or League One, League Two, whichever ones make it.
Man, I love to have Inter Miami come play here first off. That's really, you know,
Welcome to Rogers, Messi.
yeah, exactly.
Yep,
So wanted to put that out there. But in terms of away days, I love to play, in Omaha. Because I've, known fans from there for a while, and the guys from the Parliament have been super nice. So that would be great. Just with MLS, I mean, any of the teams near us, Sporting Kansas City, FC Dallas, Austin, and then League Two. I'd have to shout out Little Rock Rangers again if we can go there. If they can come up here, that would just be awesome. So,
it's got to be at least a preseason friendly or something. There,
oh
you
yeah,
guys playing,
they
yeah,
got to get it arranged, in my opinion.
beautiful. What about on the women's side? What away days are you looking forward to on their side?
I can't wait for Dallas. I was, surprised to see
Yeah,
that Dallas. I mean, that's a huge market. It's a statement for sure.
yeah.
So Dallas is there just because they're close, 5 hours away. Lexington too.
Hmm.
So I know Tyler Crane up there from Lexington. I mean, we've
Yep.
talked ever since Lexington was going to get a team, and so I'd like to get up there and talk about some basketball with some Kentucky fans there.
Yep.
And then I believe Spokane is getting a market. They're getting a team in Super League too. So Spokane's always kind of been a city that I've been like, man, I'd love to go up to anywhere in Washington, Seattle, Spokane. I mean, it's just all pretty. So
Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous in Spokane. I can tell
absolutely,
you that with no reservations. That it is very easy with exception of maybe a little bit of the cooler temperature in the weather. It's very easy to imagine that you're back home when you're in the
oh, yeah,
mountains up there and doing all of that. So yeah, Spokane's a good shout. Well done.
yeah.
Um, and so I guess really what would you like to say? Just is there anything? I got a couple of Twitter questions and stuff to get to you, but is there any other like kind of just how excited you guys are and how much the supporters have driven this? Because I noted your Change.org petition got almost 1,200 signatures in about 3 months. You were
Yeah,
at the 1,000 mark right at 3 months. 1,200 signatures for this. How much have you guys been driving this?
a lot. And again, it's just been cool seeing that it's not really ever just been me. I mean, there's been people, sharing out any updates that I posted before this was official. People are more than happy to coordinate watch parties for Premier League games and MLS and the World Cup and all that. So it's been great, but just that petition blew me away because getting over 1,000 signatures. I don't want to like shade Greenville, but theirs only got 931 before they got started. So
Yep.
when we passed them, I was like, well, that's great. But they did an incredible job of that too, and that I bet helped get them their team. But it's
We
just,
are okay with any shade you want to throw Greenville's way.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
they're a great group of people. Highly respect them as a supporters group.
hmm,
We want our belt back, and it's still an asterisk. So,
love it. Yeah, I'm
uh,
partial to you guys because you're closer. So
yeah, support pseudo local. There we go. Um, so on the couple of Twitter questions, we already talked about it. So I think it's Ewan Matayusa. It's at Ewan Matuas at on Twitter. He's asking, does the team have a training facility plan? We already talked about the stadium being expandable. So if you want to talk a little bit more about what the plan for the expansion is, but is the team having a training facility? Are they doing that? Academy? Any of those kinds of things that you see coming down or would like to see?
So they don't have any plans for a training facility yet, I believe. But I mean, just from my personal opinion, I think it'd probably be somewhere like nearby the stadium, just within the scope of the whole NWA I-49 corridor. So maybe Rogers or Lowell or Springdale. There's tons of land out there. So, but I don't know. Maybe it's up in Bella Vista, or maybe it's way out in like Fayetteville or something.
Yeah.
I've not heard anything about it. So, and then in terms of an academy, so they've had dialogue. One of the listening sessions they had was with the youth club community, and so I don't know if they're going to make it academy at least right away because they don't want to step on people's feet. And so you've seen that in other USL markets. Tulsa has a good relationship with a bunch of their local youth clubs. So I would honestly expect that to be what happens. And then, whether they have an academy sometime down the road, maybe. I believe that's probably a goal for most USL teams, but they're just wanting to work with the local youth community here and help get some local talent up on this team. So that's their goal right now.
And seems like the way to go about it, especially if you can use you don't have a set established academy, but you can still sign academy contracts and those types of
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
Sounds like you get the best of both worlds that way. So then to shout out a couple of my guys on the Omaha Parliament there when we were talking about some of the stuff in Discord, they uh, posted that you guys got the okay to rezone from the Rogers City Council here a couple of days ago, and
Mhm.
they're kind of wondering who do you think is going to get a stadium first between Omaha and you guys. So really, I guess what you know of the potential timeline for getting a stadium for you guys, and we can compare notes and maybe prod the front office and the legislature to do a little something for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, I love that y'all are even in talks to get your own stadium. So that's great. But I mean, it's probably going to be us because this will be a modular
Yep.
facility, and those take real quick to build, and it's also 5,000 seats. I would, I don't really know anything about how many seats Union Omaha and the city would want y'all stadium to be, but I would imagine it will be probably brick and mortar. So I will say us, but I don't think you guys would be too far behind either, for sure.
Do you have any features that you would like to see, just you personally, whether or not it's, yes, we definitely need natural grass or shading. Do you have any features that you'd really like to see, even down to, the kind of concessions they'd go down to?
Yeah, I think outside the stadium they need to have some trees, make it look all natural. Obviously don't make it look like a rainforest or anything. It's a stadium,
Right.
but there's no trees I think on the actual lane currently. Have like a fan area with food trucks outside where people can congregate. Potentially have somewhere where people can watch other games, and then inside the stadium. And so I know a lot of fans want this is like a nice, like compact, intimate atmosphere with steep stands.
Mm.
Um, you know, Seats on at least three sides, supporter section with safe standing rails, and then with concessions. I mean, I don't know if you know what a Wright's Barbecue is,
Mm.
but I mean, people come here and they legitimately say
Yep.
it's some of the best barbecue they've ever had, and it really is. So I love to have Wright's Slim Chickens too. They're from Fayetteville, so I got to shout them out. Great, chicken chain, and uh, you know, Onyx Coffee too. I mean, Onyx is huge. I had no idea how huge it was until someone DM'd me on Twitter and they're like, "Hey, I'm from Toronto and I have Onyx coffee beans." So,
I'm gonna have to get down there and get some of that because this is a first heard on the Onyx coffee for me, and that is
oh,
my
really?
addiction is coffee. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get down there and get some beans or something like that and see what's going on with Onyx.
yeah. I don't even like coffee, but I like one particular drink from there. So,
Yeah.
that means a lot.
Oh yeah, the smell of the coffee. My wife hates
Oh
coffee, but
yeah.
she loves the smell, so
Hmm.
absolutely can deal with that. Uh, what I'd recommend for the supporters section is definitely have something where the sound is going to bounce,
Yes.
because we love the berm. Berm life is great, but when your drums really get in the stands, that's when they can echo. We may or
Exactly.
may not have had a couple of matches where the away supporters were underneath the cover and sounded as loud as us. So,
Oh,
so highly recommend a cover or a something for the sound to bounce off of as you guys are going
absolutely.
for that. Safe standing though, that's always going to be in a lot of people's minds and hearts that it's got
For
to be a
sure.
safe standing area.
Hmm.
Um, is there anything else that you can think of that you'd really like to throw out?
Um, I mean, you mentioned support local. That was part of the reason why, I really started just looking around Twitter that night with my friends. Because it's special to have a local team, just in any sport. But soccer, I think a lot of people here are going to realize it is the world's game, obviously, but it also has the best power of all sports to connect the community. So I'm so proud to have my own local team and be able to feed my energy into this. Arsenal will always be a part of my heart. I'm a huge Arsenal fan, but this team will more than likely probably end up meaning more just because it is in my backyard. So I'm happy to have that and be able to join the USL community and for this to actually be public. I don't know if anyone thought that I was some crazy lunatic running a Twitter account for 2 years, but this is real. So
Yes. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of lunacy in all of the supporters. Fan comes from fanatic there, so
Oh yeah,
little bit to all of that. That we're all a little bit crazy. I prefer to say it passionate, and that's
me too.
I definitely can see that in you there, Colin.
Thank you.
Any final shout outs? Anyone when you want to give any thanks to, credit? Anyone that said, "Hey, say my name."
Um, Golly. Well, first off, I want to credit Chris and Warren. Because they've given me this opportunity to be this involved. And kind of just cultivate this fan base because I could have just ran the Facebook group and Twitter without any news, but it was obviously a big help to get the news out there, and people got their interest peaked. So I like to shout them out. Wes Harris, he is the managing director of the club, the first employee. He's been real great too. So he's also a Liverpool fan. So shout out to him. And
Yep,
then
there we go.
golly, just in terms of supporters, Carlos Trevino Frank, he's been a huge help. Zach Harden, golly, I don't want to leave anyone's name out. Uh, just specifically in Omaha, I mean, Luke Opperman, he's been
Yep.
great. Or is it Opperman? I'd hate to mispronounce his name.
Opperman.
Okay, sorry,
We
Luke.
just call him something, and he'll answer to it.
Well, Luke, I mean, he's been great. I met with him just over Zoom and call a couple times, and he's been really interested in this for a while. So it's in general, people have. I mean, Chip's been super interested, and so it's been nice to have you guys up there. Kind of like, when is this going to happen? Because it shows that USL can really just unite a lot of people, even between regions. So.
You give me an away day in Northwest Arkansas, and I will be there in a heartbeat, and the family will be in tow with me, because any
I
chance we
love
get
it.
back to touch base back home is it's always a welcome opportunity there. So,
Definitely.
Colin, I want to thank you absolutely for your time.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, as things progress, I hope we can keep contact with you, maybe bring you back on, and kind of get a how goes it and those like that, and absolutely, as soon as you guys figure out a podcast or something like that, let us know, and we'll make sure to blast it from between League One on the Rocks, Walking 90, some of those guys. Even though we're not championship,
Yeah.
supporter-driven media and supporter-driven the things that you've been doing that are supporter-driven. That is what's going to make stuff grow, and that's what's going to make things take off. And I think you've really well embraced that. And I wish you all the success in the world. So
Thank you.
anything that any of us can do to help, we're kind of all in it together, and you'll never walk alone.
Hey, I love it. Thank you so
All
much.
right. All right, Colin. Thanks much. So again, Arkansas supporters at USL to NWA on Twitter. You're going to keep with that handle, even though you're now with team.
I mean, until we have a name, I'm going to keep USL Arkansas supporters.
Yep.
The username though at USL NWA, I was thinking about changing it maybe to like USL ARSG or something. I think I'm just going to keep it the same though, because it is different. But once we have a name, it'll become that. So
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep us updated and let us know what that one is.
yeah.
All right. So once again, guys, thanks for showing. For more info content, rbpenguinmedia.com. You can email me, rbpenguinmedia@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Colin, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you so much.